So right now I want to make a test of, it's quite an interesting test because everyone talks about it, but I've never seen anyone test it. So this is going to be 300X in a warm setting against 300D Mark II gelled, so with the CTO. So I already matched them in terms of color wise, and they right now at roughly at 3000 Kelvin. So right now it's a 300X full power at basically 3000 Kelvin. So 300X at full power right now. Let's see how much we're gonna get. Okay, so it's 1180 lux, 5.6 and 4. So that's what we get. Okay, and let's see how much we're gonna get with .300D with the CTO gel on it. It feels already brighter. Okay. Nice. Okay, so that's what we get. It's significantly brighter. So for those who bought 300D thinking that they're gonna get more output using gels, you actually do significantly more. So yeah, if it makes sense. Okay, right now also we're gonna try to see if we switch them to daylight, how much output we're gonna get. So I'm gonna remove the gel. And let's get a reading. So we get 3000 lux roughly and 11. And by the way, it's 5600 Kelvin. Okay. And let's turn on at 56 full power. Let's see how much do we get. Oh my god, it's half the power. That's surprising because I thought it's going to be about 75% of 300D, but it's significantly less. So basically by using CTO gel, you're going to lose about roughly half of the output of your light, but still if you do 300D Mark II against 300X, 300D Mark II is still going to be more powerful. That's the conclusion. Okay, moving to the next test. So this is an interesting test. I want to test a gel in the white mode on Aputure Nova versus RGB mode on the same light. And you may ask, why would I use that? Why would I use a gel with this? First of all, I want to see how much output I'm going to lose. And the secondary, I want to make this test because these days LED units, they very high quality in white mode. So you get tungsten and you have daylight, you get really high score and it's a very high quality light. But when you switch to RGB mode, in RGB, that's where the LED lights are not there yet, because in RGB mode, the quality of the light drops significantly. And it may look the same for our eyes, but the sensors, the camera sensor, they react and read this color very differently. So that's why I want to show you how it's going to look with the gel and how it's going to look with the RGB mode. So let's put this gel on it and let's see what we're going to get. And by the way, I already made a reading with the Falcon C800, and that's where this device is very handy, because with this device I can actually make a reading of a hue and saturation and dialed in exactly the same measurements with the RGB and with the gel. So I already did that. I'm at saturation 97 at angle 348. So let's get a reading how much we're gonna get with that. So we're getting 61 lux of and the 1.4 and 4. So this gel is very heavy. I can tell right away it's really strong. It takes a lot of light. And right now I switched to RGB mode. And I'm gonna get the reading just to make sure we get, yes, we get exactly the same saturation and hue. So it feels significantly brighter. But let's see. We get 389 lux and 28 and 6. So yeah, it is significantly brighter. But what's more interesting is that when you look at the camera, the footage, that even though it looks exactly the same for our eye, and it's give us a reading exactly the same, the saturation and hue, so it looks exactly the same. It looks exactly the same. On camera, it's going to look very different because the quality of the gels is significantly higher, and the rendition of the color on camera is going to be more accurate, where with the RGB mode, the color is going to be way off and it's going to be washed out. But the trade-off that we're going to lose a lot of light, and it feels like this gel loses about, it takes about 4 stops, which is a lot. It's a very heavy gel, and yeah, you lose a lot of light, but you gain the quality. Very interesting test. Moving on. Okay, this is an interesting test. I want to test Aputure Nova 300 versus 300D Mark II through a diffusion. I want to see how much output will I get. But for Aputure Nova, I'm going to use one-stop diffusion because Aputure Nova is softer source because it's a larger source and I don't have to diffuse it as much. Where with 300D Mark II, I'll have to use a thicker diffusion, which is, I'm going to use a Magic Claw, which is 2.5 stops, and it's going to help me to blend the source nicer. So let's see which one is brighter going to be. Okay, we get 609 lux and F4 and 9. Okay, so right now I'm gonna remove this diffusion and I'm gonna turn on 300D. So I'm putting this Magic Glove diffusion. It's one of my favorite diffusions because it's very thick, and no matter how hard your source, it diffuses all. And the idea is behind the diffusion is when you look through the diffusion, if you see a source, that means it's not diffused as well. That means the shadow is going to be harder. The idea behind diffusion is that when you diffuse light, it has to be even, it has to be blended. It has to be in a way so you don't clearly see where the source is coming from. So when it's even, that means it's diffused well. And this diffusion does it the best, I think. Okay, I'm gonna turn off Nova and I'm gonna turn on 300D Mark II at full power. Okay, let's see what we're gonna get. Okay, we get almost 100 lux less. Interesting. And right now I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to try to put, I'm going to try and turn on Aputure Nova through the same diffusion, which is, I'm going to put it through Magic Cloth and see how much output will I get with that. Interesting. But we get exactly the same brightness, exactly the same reading. That's a little bit surprising to me because I thought that 300D Mark II will give us more punch when we put it through diffusion, but because basically 300 Nova is already kind of diffused and it doesn't have this, basically what we get with 300 Nova, it's double diffused because it has a layer of diffusion and we put this through diffusion. For those reasons I thought 300D Mark II is going to be brighter, but it's not. We basically get exactly the same reading, and that's quite interesting. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention, that when you use Aputure Nova, it has wider spread, where with the 300D Mark II you have more focused spot, and in order to get it more even you have to push light further away. And when you do this, first of all you need to have more real estate, which we don't have it in the garage, so we have to put it in those conditions. But even if you put it further away, you're going to lose more output. So technically, for this kind of scenario, Aputure Nova 300 will be a better light than 300D Mark II, because if you put it on a proper distance to fill up the frame, you're probably going to lose maybe half of the output. So that's an interesting test, because I thought it's going to be the other way. Okay, let's move on. Okay, since we have Aputure Nova and 300D Mark II up on the stands already, we just put it through the diffusion, but let's see what kind of reading we're going to get without the diffusion. So right now we have Aputure Nova at 100% at 5600. So let's get the reading. Okay, so we get 5, 6, and 4, and 9, 3, 5 lux. Okay, now let's see what we're gonna get with the 300D. And note, I'm using Fresnel attachment, and right now it's on the flat, it's not on the spot. So we get it is significantly brighter. So you get about 2 stops more, which is a lot. There you go. Moving to another test. Okay, and at last, this is an interesting test. We're gonna test 600D with the Fresnel versus Nanlux Evoke 1200 with the dish 45 degree. And thanks for my friend Arthur. The Instagram is gonna be here. He borrowed me this light to test out. So let's see how far behind 600D. So right now 600D is on, and let's see what we're gonna get. So 600D at full power. Right now let's get a reading. So 11 and 9 and 6060 lux. Okay, and right now it's the Fresnel attachment at 45 degrees, so it's flat. Let's fire up the Evoke, the beast, and see how much we're gonna get. Nanlux Evoke 1200 at 100%. Oh, that feels bright. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's significantly brighter. So we had 6,000 before, and right now it's almost 11. So it's about almost double. So it's about 85% more output. Yeah, that's impressive. Okay, so right now it's a liter. Almost 11,000 lux. Okay, now I got an idea how we're gonna beat it. And since we proved that adding lights gives it more exposure, how about we're gonna put, since we have this attachment, we can put 600D, 200D, 200D, 300D, and 300X, and see how much is it gonna give us, because we're gonna try to beat this beast. Okay, this is funny. That's what we do to beat the Evoke 1200. So look at this beast. Okay, this is very funny, but look at that. UFOs. So basically we put 600D in the middle, 300X, 300D on the side, and 200D on the side. So we're getting, I don't know, let's count. So technically, so those two, the almost 300Ds, so we have 600, 1200, it's already there. Plus we have 600 extra, so it's 1800 watt of LED. Wow, okay. Let's make a measurement right now. But this feels bright. This feels bright. So let's see. So before we had 16 stops and 8, and we had 11,700 lux on Evoke 1200. Let's see what we're gonna get here.
Holy hell.
That's what we get.
F22 fourth split.
So that's the light. That's the sun, basically. We basically made sun. That's really impressive. I mean, 16,000 lux at 3 meters, it's a lot. I mean, I can't even look at it, it's so bright. Okay. How much is Evoke?
Price?
1200, yeah.
3700.
3700, okay. So let's see, what do we need to turn off to make it the same? So let's, for instance, let's turn off 600D, let's see what we're gonna get, because basically without 600D we're gonna get 1200 watt. It's almost there, actually. So 10,100 lux. So basically right now we're using only 300X, 300D, 200D, and 200D, and we get the same output as Evoke 1200. Now it made me thinking even more about building a set of lights with Amaran 200D, because basically if I replace 300X and 300D Mark II with the 200Ds, I'm gonna get the same output, roughly, same output. So 4 200Ds will give me the same output as 1200 Evoke. And in terms of pricing, each 200D is $300 times 4, $1,200. So it's almost 3 times. It is 3 times cheaper than Evoke. I need to build a monster light with this. I need to get like 6 or 8 of those. 9.
Or 8.
Okay, I think we should wrap up. I hope this all information was useful for you. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to subscribe because I really need this help, and comments, likes, all that helps me move this channel more and make more videos like this. So please show some love and support, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.